Hey everyone, welcome to Inman Access. This episode has myself, Jon Krabbe with Agent Image, and we're here with an absolute legend in the luxury market, Joyce Rey. And we're just going to talk today about sort of the luxury high-end market and sort of what's happening in it, sort of how everyone is adjusting to the market and what they're doing from a marketing standpoint to better their business and adapt and stay up to the level what sellers expect and are looking for. Good morning, Joyce. How are you?
I'm great. How are you, Jon? Nice to see you and welcome everybody.
Great to see you, Joyce. Let's just jump right into it. Joyce, what are you seeing right now in the ultra high-end luxury market? What are your sellers experiencing? What are you seeing? What do you see in general?
Our market, high end, and of course, people interpret the high end anywhere from 5 million and up, 10 million up, 20 million, 30 million, even 40 million in terms of the Los Angeles general luxury market. But I've seen the statistics across the country as well. And our market is perhaps more extreme than the others, but I think it is kind of a universal trend, unfortunately, that luxury real estate is suffering. I know the statistics show in our market specifically that properties over 40 million, the sales volume is down as much as 60% year over year. That is a huge decrease in volume.
It is
huge. I don't think I've ever seen that much of a decrease in volume. So what's happening is that properties are not selling, particularly luxury properties. The properties that are selling are, I would say, 1 to 4 million for the most part. That's where the properties are still moving. But the luxury properties, the luxury buyers are sitting on the sidelines. Why? For a myriad of reasons. You've got world events that everyone's concerned about. You've got uncertainty, which is always bad for business. You've got high interest rates, and we're still not sure if they're going to raise them again or not. On top of it, here in Los Angeles, we have a ULA tax, which they refer to as the mansion tax. But basically, properties over $5 million are now being, the proceeds of the sale are being heavily taxed. So you've got all of these factors coming together. And so people are simply not selling their properties because the buyers are only buying when they perceive a huge deal. And typically a luxury seller is not going to diminish their price and make it a huge deal unless they absolutely must sell. And of course we're going into the holidays, which typically is a slow period even in a hot market. We have a lot of reasons right now that luxury realtors are singing the blues.
Yeah, no, it really, we see it, and you're correct, Joyce. It's nationwide. It really is. This isn't just affecting, the area that you and I are in West LA, here in Los Angeles, Beverly Hills, and surrounding areas.
Beverly Hills is exempt from that tax, Jon.
Yeah, no, they are. But the market is still, exactly. The market is still so soft, and it's, to your point, probably 60% down, and that's even off what was sort of an artificial high, the pandemic in that era and that moment in time. Even if you took it in a regular market, this high-end market is definitely impacted more than I've probably ever seen it in the 24 years I've been kind of seeing. I think, you look at everything, you look at interest rates, you look at all of it too, which doesn't as much affect that market segment, but it still is, to your point, the buyer, the person who's looking to sell isn't going to sell unless they're going to get top dollar for their property, and often aren't in a position where they have to. And a buyer in that market is really only looking for a really exceptional deal. All of these factors are obviously working against everything.
So it's very hard to get the two to meet. It is. And that's our job.
It is. And it's, too, especially like you said, it's the high-end market. The rest of the industry is facing similar challenges, but not to the extent that the sort of 5 million and over, especially 5 million and over properties are getting hit with. What are you seeing when you do list a home right now and you are working with sellers? What are you finding compared to, say, 2-3 years ago when it comes to listing presentation, or what you're sort of experiencing when you're out there meeting with these sellers? Are you seeing what's their attitude? What are they expecting? Are the expectations different from you than they were maybe in the past? What do you see on that side, Joyce?
I think that the seller expectations have just continually increased. People are wanting more and more from their agents, and you know, of course, if you're not selling, your budget can't be too high for marketing. And so it's a delicate balance to please the seller and not overspend. So, you know, I've walked this tightrope over the years. I've always tried to make my marketing better. My goal is always to be the best. So that means I've got to spend more than most everyone else on marketing. And, you know, I've been willing to do it. There was an old rule that you should spend 10% of your gross on marketing. And very few agents do that, frankly. Staff tells me every year that I'm spending too much on marketing. I was the first realtor to have a website, believe it or not. In the early 1990s, someone came to me and said, "Do you want a website?" I said, "What's that?" I said, "Heck, sure, I want one." Just saying that it's important to be on the cutting edge and to make sure that you're utilizing every possible metric, that you're reaching out to and targeting the right audience. You know, I mean, there's so many things to look out for in today's world. But one of the important things, of course, is my website. And I've just been talking to Jon and Agent Image about revamping my website after 2.5 years. Why? Because you want to stay current. You need to work on your SEO. You need to have my goal is to be the best. Now, my website has gotten awards. People might say, well, why are you going to redo your website when you've gotten an award as having one of the best websites in the country? Yes, but I want to continue to be getting that award. So you have to stay current. So important.
It really is, you know, and on that note, you know, I always advise, I always tell people, you know, you definitely want to revamp your site. Every 3 years is sort of the golden rule. You start at the 2.5-year mark, like we're doing, Joyce. But, you know, it's so funny. So many people don't. So many people will go 4, 5, 6 years. And when you get into that time span, you're sort of you're working from behind, because you have to stay current. And so much with technology changes, so much with seller expectations and buyer expectations and what they're looking for. It evolves, and it evolves very quickly. And it doesn't mean you do it every year, but to your point, Joyce, it's right on time. I always say that, you know, you start at the 2.5-year mark, get everything dialed in and perfected by the 3-year mark, and you're right on track again. So that is super important. The other thing that we're seeing on our side on the digital marketing aspect in the industry, and this is quick, you know, there's the NAR ruling obviously came down last week, and you know, that's going to have an appeals court, and it's going to take a while, but you're already seeing the impact. And what I thought was fascinating, we've been kind of talking about this internally, was the immediate demand of agents coming in and focusing on their digital brand. We saw this a lot during the pandemic, and this is the first time I've seen this urgency since then, because obviously everything went online during the pandemic. So people were, you know, your entire marketing channel shifted immediately. But here, agents are contacting us, you know, with this urgency of, all of a sudden it's in the media. The NAR ruling is in the front page of CNN, Fox, whatever it is, it's all over. And where mortgage rates were the focus, I know that's what you've seen too, Joyce, that's been the focus in the media for years now, or at least the better part of a year, 1.5 years, and how they've gone up. But now it's kind of put the spotlight on the agent and the service they provide, which I've never seen happen before. All of a sudden, the consumers, it's almost become not a witch hunt, but a thing where saying, we're giving 6% commission, 5-6%. What are you doing for that money? Basically, why couldn't it be a simpler transaction that wouldn't involve an agent? And that, you know, that's the farthest thing from the truth. If you can't make a home purchase transactional to that level like a car, it's too important, it's too personal for people. There's too many, you know, details that go into everything from inspections to everything we all know. Anything with purchasing a house, you absolutely have to have an agent helping with that. The consumer wants to save money selling their home. They all of a sudden see a chance to pick up 3% of commission, whatever it is. You know, the agents rather than contact us are saying, hey, more now than ever, we need to convey the value of the service we provide. All of a sudden, people who didn't have a website, they're saying, now people are looking for me online. They're saying, why am I paying you this commission to list my house or to represent me as a buyer? How does that working? You know, what are you doing? And that's where I think the big, go Joyce.
One thing that I have had a hard time understanding about all of this is many years ago, we had to print in bold print on our contracts, commissions are negotiable. And typically we do negotiate commissions. We negotiate it at the time we sign the contract with the seller and at the time we negotiate the sale. And so if and when we renegotiate a commission, the truth is that that affects the buyer and the seller agent. And typically, I've done many deals where I've represented both sides in a transaction and done it successfully. But it's hard. It's hard when you have two opposing viewpoints, one wanting to get a top price and the other wanting to get a low price. And, if they're trying to revert everything back to the buyer negotiating with their own agent on a commission, then the buyer has to negotiate for the house and negotiate with their own broker. To me, it complicates the whole process.
It does.
And it's hard for me to understand because negotiation has been an integral part of buying and selling. And in fact, my favorite real estate story is the guy, I'll never forget it, Bob Wald was his name, and he was typically one to negotiate commissions, but he thought I did such a wonderful job in selling his house to the head of one of the movie studios that he increased my commission from 5 to 6%. And I'll never forget that. And so it could be negotiable in the other direction. Oh, by the way.
And it really is about service and about, what everybody in this industry provides to the consumer. I don't think a lot of times they realize just how important that is in a major purchase or a decision like that. It really is so important. And, it goes to the website, it goes to everything else. How can you convey the value you provide in the best light possible, the most professional light possible, saying, this is why you need me. This is what the service I'm going to provide to help you get top dollar for your home, or representing a buyer, get the best deal I can for you when it comes to negotiating your home. And it can't be, overstated enough. It is so important. And, that's, Joyce, you and I have worked together for years. It really is anything on the digital marketing front. That's where people are looking nowadays. That's where people are looking for you. That's where they find you. We do a lot of SEO stuff together, things like that as well. For that very reason, because international buyers are finding you that way. There are going to be people who, all over the country. It's not just, 20, 30 years ago, people were driving by and they see a sign in the yard or they look in the newspaper on a Sunday. That time has passed. And as this market gets tighter this way, it's so important.
You don't have signs. Typically, most sellers on luxury properties don't want a sign. So you're right, because actually often the best buyer is the next door neighbor. And when you would put out that sign in the old days, the neighbor would call and you'd sold the house. That was always the very best.
No, I know, right? Yeah, it's so much has evolved. And I think that's the kind of a big takeaway from this is, regardless of what happens in the industry with legal proceedings or where the industry heads, it is moving constantly. That's what I love about tech, because you're never bored. There's never, it's constantly moving. There's constant evolution. It's exciting. And, there's opportunity in any market, adverse or otherwise. There's always opportunity. And I think that's probably the most important thing to remember. And we're very resilient. If you look at, the industry as a whole, the world as a whole, through what it's been through in the last 3-4 years alone, to your point, Joyce, with wars going on, with pandemic that happened, everything, everybody here is still moving forward, and you deal with the market, you play the cards you're given, you deal with the market you've got. And it's just what can you do?
Everyone thought when the pandemic hit that we would never sell a house again. And it was the exact opposite. Everybody loved their houses. They wanted to buy more.
Yeah,
so oftentimes, even when you think the worst is happening, it's really not as bad as you think.
It's absolutely true. Those first 2 weeks, nobody thought anything was going to happen, and then it just took off like a rocket ship. So no, it's like I said, it's an exciting time. What's coming, I believe. I think that no matter what you provide, the high-end market provides in general, the agents in this market provide such a service that can't, it can't be replaced. It needs to be appreciated, in my opinion. And that's sort of what I think that the media and stuff sometimes fails to do. is to appreciate their own stories and what they've been through in buying a home, and how important the agent, the brokerage, everything is in both marketing and negotiating. All of it. It's there's a lot of good to come, I think, in all of this. So, and yeah, I just I think we can close with that. Joyce, do you have any thoughts for everybody watching this? Any closing thoughts?
Well, the old adages about hard work and integrity. I mean, all of those apply so much more in a tough market. And establishing yourself, number one, as an expert, that you can never know enough about your market, about your clientele, the importance of listening, the importance of caring, the importance of doing the right thing. The most important thing is not your commission. It is making your clients happy. And how do you do that? By doing the right thing at all times. And when you follow that advice, you're bound to be successful. Our business is a 24/7 business, and you have to be prepared to accept that and go with it, because if you're not willing to be available, you really can't be a top producing broker. You have to be responsive and available and conscientious and on the job. So with those provisos, if you're willing to work like crazy and you're willing to do the right thing and put your client's best interest first, you're bound to be successful.
Joyce, you and I share the exact same philosophy to a T, and you put it beautifully, perfectly and beautifully. Inman Access, thank you so much for everybody watching this. Thank you so much. Hopefully you got a little bit of information, some good information from it that you can use and apply. And we're always here. Joyce is always here. If she can help answer any questions or help anyone out there, I'm always here. If there's anything we can do to help from a digital marketing standpoint, we're here. So let us know, and have a great day, everybody. Talk to you soon. Take care.